Hello guys, today's video is about the top anime series of 2021. This list is based on each show's popularity. Now relax and enjoy the video. Now, let's start the list with number 30. The Great Jehi will not be defeated. The Great Jehi, the Dark Realm's second-in-command, cuts a frightening figure feared and revered by all. But when a magical girl destroys the precious mana crystal, the Dark Realm falls, transporting the newly tiny and powerless Jehi to the human world. Unfortunately, plotting the revival of the Dark Realm from a cramped, crumbling one-room apartment is no easy feat when you have rent to pay and a job to keep. This anime is not available in dub. Now, number 29, Miruko-chan. One day, Miku suddenly started seeing grotesque beings that others couldn't. Her response was not to run, not to face them, but to do everything she can to completely ignore them. Can she keep a straight face and continue her day-to-day life while surrounded by horrifying monsters? This anime isn't available in dub. Now, number 28, Blue Period. In this anime, our protagonist is top of his class but he finds everything boring. One day our protagonist Yaguchi saw a painting. After seeing that, he jumps into the beautiful yet unrelenting world of art. After finding inspiration in a painting, he starts to try to paint and want to become the best painter in the world. Now, number 27, Shadow House. A faceless clan lives in a large mansion, masquerading as nobles. Their caretakers are living dolls who spend their days cleaning up the dirt the tenants leave behind. But there's a deeper mystery at play, and the secret of how people can turn into a shadow and how the family masquerading as nobles became a shadow. Now, number 26, My Senpai is Annoying. Futuba's new job would be great if her senpai Harumi wasn't so incredibly annoying. She hates how big he is, and she hates that her senpai treats her like a little kid. Just because Futuba is short and looks young doesn't make her a kid, and just because she spends so much time with him doesn't mean she sees him as anything but an annoying senpai. It's a romance anime. Now, number 25. Suma found himself summoned to another world and his adventure did not begin. After he presents his plan to strengthen the country economically and militarily, the king cedes the throne to him and Suma finds himself saddled with ruling the nation. Now he has to marry the king's daughter, to get the country back on its feet. Suma calls the wise, the talented, and the gifted to his side. 5 people gather before the newly crowned king. Just what are the many talents and abilities they possess? What path will his outlook as a realist take Suma and the people of his country will take? A revolutionary transfer to an otherworld administrative fantasy series starts here. Now, number 24, The Case Study of Vanitas. In 19th century Paris, young vampire now finds the Book of Vanitas in human hands. The human who is calling himself Vanitas, this doctor wields his power and tells now a plan to cure all vampires. Allying with him may be dangerous, but does he have a choice? Because it may be the only way to save all the vampires. That's how their journey begins to save both vampires and humans. Now, number 23, Beastars second season. This story takes place in a world of civilized animals with a cultural divide between carnivores and herbivores. Our protagonist, he lives in a dorm with several other carnivorous students including his outgoing Labrador friend, Jack. As a member of the school's drama club, Lugosi works as a stagehand and supports the actors of the club headed by the star pupil Louis. Out of nowhere, the alpaca was brutally murdered. That night happens an unease and distrust between the herbivore and carnivore students. At the same time, Lugosi has a fateful encounter with Haru, a small dwarf rabbit, and begins developing complex feelings for her. Now, number 22, Talked Off. Destiny. In this anime, music is the light that illuminates people's hearts, and that light was suddenly taken from the world. The world changed the night the black meteorite fell. Grotesque monsters known as D2 emerged from the meteorite and began to overrun the land and people. As the D2 was drawn to melodies people played, eventually music itself became taboo. However, those who opposed the monsters appeared. They are the musical girls who draw power from music. They possess the great operas and musical scores of human history and use them to defeat the D2. Now, number 21, Dr. Stone, Stone Wars. One fateful day, all of humanity was petrified by a blinding flash of light. After several millennia, high schooler Teju awakens and finds himself lost in a world of statues. However, he's not alone. His science-loving friend Senku's been up and running for a few months, and he's got a grand plan in mind to kickstart civilization with the power of science. That's how their journey begins. Now, number 20, Nomad, Megalobox 2. A desolate land stretches out from the city of poverty. A motorcycle speeds recklessly, blowing clouds of sand and dust. The rider is the protagonist of this story. He has neither a name nor a past. All he has is his ring name, Junk Dog, and a technique for rigging Megalobox matches with his pal Gansaku, which they use to support their hand-to-mouth lives. JD is bored, resigned, and unfulfilled. Yuri has been the reigning champion of Megalobox for the past few years. He has the skills and presence of a true champion. This is the story of JD and his rival, Yuri. Now, number 19, Moriarty the Patriot, second season. In the late 19th century, the British Empire has become a global power. Due to the strict class stratification, the average citizen has little chance of successfully rising up to the top, where the despicable nobility rules over them all. William James Moriarty, the second son of the Moriarty household, is a young mathematics professor who has displayed great cunning and intellect since he was a child. Along with his brothers Albert and Louis, he lives the simple life of a noble. Outside of school, William is a well-known private consultant willing to solve the problems of anyone in need. However, his position as the head of a group prepared to wreak havoc in pursuit of its desire, a new world built from the ashes. Yuikoku no Moriarty puts a new spin on Arthur Conan Doyle's original work by putting the spotlight on its main protagonist and exploring how he came to be the first and only criminal consultant. Now, number 18, Skate the Infinity. S is a dangerous, top-secret, downhill skateboarding race on an abandoned mine. When a skateboarder takes our protagonist to the mountain where S is held, our protagonist, who's never been on a skateboard in his life, finds himself sucked into the world of skateboarding. This is the story of how he became one of the best skateboarders in the world. Now, number 17, Miku Black Company. Kinji, who lacks any kind of work ethic, is a layabout in his modern life. One day, he finds himself transported to another world, but not in a grand fantasy of a hero welcomed with open arms. He's immediately shoved into a terrible job. Now enslaved by an evil mining company in a fantasy world, Kinji's about to learn the meaning of hard work. It's an interesting anime where the protagonist uses the dungeon monsters to his benefits. Now, number 16, Platinum End. In this anime, as his classmates celebrate their middle school graduation, troubled Mirai is mired in darkness. But his battle is just beginning when he receives some salvation from above in the form of an angel. Now Mirai is pitted against 12 other chosen humans in a battle in which the winner becomes the next god of the world. Mirai has an angel in his corner, but he may need to become a devil to survive, but he is soft-hearted. How will he become the next god? Now, number 15, banished from the hero's party, so I decided to live a quiet life in countryside. Red was once a member of the hero's party, a powerful group destined to save the world from the evil forces of Tarasan, the raging demon lord. That is until one of his comrades kicked him out. Hoping to live the easy life on the frontier, Red's new goal is to open an apothecary. However, keeping the secret of his former life may not be as simple as he thinks. Especially when the beautiful Red, an adventurer from his past, shows up and asks to move in with him. Now, number 14, To Your Eternity.
It's a mysterious immortal being, which was sent to the earth with no emotions nor identity. However, it can take the shape of those around that have a strong thrust. At first, it is a ball. Then, it imitates the form of a rock. As the temperature drops and snow falls atop the moss, it inherits the moss. When an injured, lone wolf comes limping by and lays down to die, it takes on the form of the animal. Finally, it gains consciousness and begins to traverse the empty tundra until it meets a boy. The boy lives alone in a ghost town, which the adults abandoned long ago in search of the paradise said to exist far beyond the endless sea of white tundra. However, their efforts were for nothing, after the boy died. He took the form of the boy. It sets off on a never-ending journey, in search of new experiences, places, and people.
Now, number 13, Tokyo Revengers.
Watching the news, Hanagaki Takemichi learns that his girlfriend from way back in middle school, Takibana Hinata, has died. The only girlfriend he ever had was just killed by a villainous group known as the Tokyo Manji Gang. He lives in a crappy apartment with thin walls, and his 6 years younger boss treats him like an idiot. Plus, he's a complete and total virgin. At the height of his rock-bottom life, he suddenly time leaps 12 years back to his middle school days. To save Hinata, and change the life he spent running away, hopeless part-timer Takemichi must aim for the top of Kanto's most sinister delinquent gang.
Now, number 12, Saragensuki Spirit Chronicles.
In this anime, our protagonist's past life and current life are intersecting with memories of two lives. Our protagonist faces his destiny. After his mother was killed at an early age, the orphaned Ryo fought his hardest to survive in the slums. One day, he awakens to the memories of Haruto, who died in an accident while dreaming of being reunited with his childhood friend, and Ryo realized that he has reincarnated in a world of swords and sorcery. This is the story of that world's best magic swordsmans.
Now, number 11, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid second season.
Kobayashi lives alone in an apartment, until one day, Toru appeared and they ended up living together. Toru looks down on humans as inferior and foolish, but having been saved by Kobayashi, she does everything she can to repay the debt and help her with various things. Although not everything goes according to plan. A mythical everyday life comedy about a hard-working office lady living with a dragon girl.
Now, number 10, Vivy, Fluorite Eyes Song.
In the near future, Vivy, a diva-type AI, went up on stage each day with hopes of putting her heart into her song. One day, the AI, Matsumoto, who claims to have arrived from 100 years in the future, appears before Vivy and tell him that they will take over the Earth from humans. Because she is an AI, she should join with them to take over the Earth now. It's an interesting anime about how Vivy and humanity stop the AI from taking over the Earth.
Now, number 9, Tsukimiki, Moonlit Fantasy.
Makoto Misumi is just an ordinary high school student living a regular life, but all of a sudden gets summoned to the other world to become a hero. The goddess of the other world, however, insults him for being different and strips his hero title, before casting him off to the wilderness at the edge of the world. As he wanders the wilderness, Makoto encounters dragons, spiders, orcs, dwarves, and all sorts of non-human tribes. Because Makoto comes from a different world, he can unleash unimaginable magical powers and combat skills. But just how will he handle his encounters with various species and survive in his new environment?
Now, number 8. The Faraway Paladin.
In a city of the dead, long since ruined and far from human civilization, lives a single human child. His name is Will, and he's being raised by 3 undead, the hearty skeletal warrior, Blood, the graceful mummified priestess, Mary, and the crotchety spectral sorcerer, Gus. The 3 pour love into the boy and teach him all they know. But one day, Will starts to wonder, who am I? Will must unravel the mysteries of this faraway dead man's land, and unearth the secret pasts of the undead. He must learn the love and mercy of the good gods, and the bigotry and madness of the bad. And when he knows it all, the boy will take his first step on the path to becoming a paladin. And are out on a journey.
Now, number 7. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world.
The world's #1 assassin has been reincarnated as the eldest son of a family of aristocrat assassins. In exchange for being reincarnated in another world, a goddess has imposed upon him one condition: kill the hero who is prophesied to destroy the world. This was the mission in his new life. The synergistic effect of the vast knowledge and experience he gained made all manner of assassinations possible in the modern world, and the secret techniques and magic of the fantasy world's most powerful family of assassins turn him into the greatest assassin of all time.
Coming at number 6 is 86.
For a long time, this country has been besieged by its neighbor, the Empire, which created a series of unmanned military vehicles called the Legion. In response to the threat, the Republic completes the development of similar technology and fights off the enemy's attack, having managed to do so without casualties. But this is the official version. There were victims. Outside of 85 districts of the Republic, there was another one, the non-existent 86th district. It was there that day and night continued the battles in which young men and women, known as 86s, participated. They fought in drones. Shin directs the actions of a detachment of young 86s while on the battlefield. Lena is a handler, who commands the detachment from the remote rear with the help of special communication. The tragic struggle of these two begins.
Now, number 5. Attack on Titan Season 4.
Several hundred years ago, humans were nearly exterminated by Titans. Titans typically seem to have no intelligence, devour human beings and, worst of all, seem to do it for pleasure rather than as a food source. A small percentage of humanity survived by walling themselves in a city protected by extremely high walls, even taller than the biggest Titans. Flash forward to the present and the city has not seen a Titan in over 100 years. Teenage boy Eren and his foster sister Mikasa witness something horrific as the city walls are destroyed by a colossal Titan that appears out of thin air. As the smaller Titans flood the city, the two kids watch in horror as their mother is eaten alive. Eren vows that he will murder every single Titan and take revenge for all of mankind.
Now, number 4. Welcome to Demon School, Iruma. Suzuki Iruma has just been abandoned and sold to a demon by his irresponsible parents. Surprisingly, the next thing he knows, he's living with the demon who has adopted him as his new grandson, and has been transferred into a school in the demon world where his new demon grandfather works as the principal. Thus begins the cowardly Iruma-kun's extraordinary school life among the otherworldly, as he faces his true self, takes on challenges, and rises to become someone great. Now, number 3, Demon Slayer.
Tanjiro, a kind-hearted boy who sells charcoal for a living, finds his family slaughtered by a demon. To make matters worse, his younger sister Nezuko, the sole survivor, has been transformed into a demon herself. Though devastated by this grim reality, Tanjiro resolves to become a demon slayer, so that he can turn his sister back into a human, and kill the demon that massacred his family.
Now, number 2, Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. A 34-year-old man gets killed in a traffic accident and finds himself in a world of magic. Rather than waking up as a full-grown mage, he gets reincarnated as a newborn baby. Before he can even properly move his body, he resolves to never make the same mistakes he made in his first life ever again, and instead live a life with no regrets with the new one that was given to him. Because he has the knowledge of a middle-aged man, by the age of 2, he has already become a prodigy and possesses power unthinkable for anyone his age and even older. Thus begins the chronicles of Rudius Grarat, son of swordsman Paul and healer Zenas, as he enters a new world to become the strongest mage with powers rivaling even the gods themselves. Now, number 1, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Rimuru Tempest is the new name of a slime in a fantasy world taken by a former 37-year-old man named Satoru, after he is killed by a passing robber. Broken free from an ordinary past life, his fresh adventure in a fantasy world as a slime monster with unique abilities begins. Thanks for watching. If you guys like my videos, please like, comment and subscribe for more videos like this.